Ireland is one of the most popular places in the world to visit, and with good reason. Between the beautiful landscape, the friendly people, and the Guinness, what more could you want? Beyond that, a whopping 1 in 4 Americans trace their ancestry to Ireland, so visiting the Emerald Isle is often a journey to trace heritage.
Our latest trip to Ireland in March of 2022 was for all of those reasons. We had plotted a route that would take us around the entire island. We began by driving from Dublin to Cork, a famous county and town with the iconic Blarney Castle. We stayed at the Blarney Woolen Mill Hotel with a view of the castle from our room. We frankly expected a tourist trap, but what we found was a fascinating 600-year-old castle on beautiful, well-landscaped grounds. Of course, we kissed the Blarney Stone.
Cobh is another picturesque town along our way with colorful row houses right on the ocean. In fact, Cobh is where the Titanic made its last stop, and there's a museum there honoring it.
Next was driving the Ring of Kerry on a peninsula on the southwest end of the country. It's a scenic drive of about 120 miles that begins and ends in the quaint town of Killarney. That night we moved inland and stayed at Ballyseed Castle, which dates back to 1721. It's been renovated and added onto over the years, and our room was pretty fabulous. We had dinner one night in the library next to a carved wooden fireplace that was a gift to the original owners from Henry VIII. Yes, that Henry VIII.
Other highlights of our Irish trip included the Cliffs of Moher, one of the most visited sites on the whole island. The views were spectacular, but the wind was so strong it picked me up and tossed me down, hurting my knee and damaging my phone. Next time I'll put bricks in my pockets.
Next up, Northern Ireland and the UNESCO World Heritage Site of the Giant's Causeway, which is truly one of the most unique coastlines on the planet. There are some 40,000 basalt hexagonal-shaped stepping stones that tumbled down to the Atlantic Ocean. They were the result of volcanic eruptions as much as 60 million years ago. We climbed all over them, and afterwards, it was coffee and scones at a 100-year-old hotel.
Belfast was up next and was a pleasant surprise. The Titanic Museum was fascinating and built on the very spot where the Titanic itself was built. We had dinner one night at the Crown Liquor Saloon, the best-known pub in Belfast that dates back to the 1880s. It was fun and lively, and you can't beat pub food.
But one of the most memorable parts of our trip to Ireland was visiting with people I had traced online that were from my ancestral home of Castlewellan in Northern Ireland, who had my last name Cinnamon, but with a D at the end. These lovely people invited us into their home and served us tea sandwiches and scones with coffee. It turned out they weren't part of my Cinnamon clan, but it was still such a fun and interesting afternoon.
We ended this Irish journey back in Dublin and stood along the street with thousands of others watching the St. Patrick's Day parade. John did have a family connection in Ireland after all, as his niece marched in the parade with the University of Illinois Marching Band.
We visited the Irish Whiskey Museum for a tour and tasting to warm up after the parade, and ended our day joining St. Patrick's Day revelers in full celebration mode.
This trip to Ireland is one of our favorite trips of the more than 100 trips we've taken together, and for many reasons. Ireland is one of the cleanest places we've ever been. It has gorgeous, lush green countryside, amazing coastline wonders, and castles. But the number one thing is the people. They are some of the nicest and most genuinely friendly people on the planet. It was kind of like going home. For Great Day TV, we're Ann and John.